Today I'm going to show you how to make 2 easy tater tot casseroles that hide a lot of veggies in them. So if you have a lot of little kids or a lot of picky eaters, this might be a good way to get those veggies in. You're going to start with a 9x13 pan or larger, and we're going to start by making this chicken tater tot casserole. You're going to need 1.5 pounds of chicken, about 6 cups of shredded carrots. I went ahead and peeled mine here, 3 cans of green beans and 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, and a bag of tater tots. I used a 32-ounce bag, 2 cups of shredded cheese, any kind you like, and a block of softened cream cheese. I went ahead and peeled and cut and shredded up my carrots, and then I dumped in my drained green beans into my pan. This dish won't stick, so you don't have to worry about using a separate mixing bowl. It cuts down on dishes to just mix right in the pan if you can. Then I added in my cans of cream of mushroom soup. I softened my cream cheese in the microwave for a few seconds because I forgot to leave it out. And there's my softened cream cheese getting added in. Next, add 1 cup of that shredded cheese. You're going to reserve the other cup of shredded cheese for topping this casserole. In a separate pot, I went ahead and boiled up my chicken and then drained off the liquid and dumped this all in together, and then went ahead and stirred it a little bit. You can wait until you add your seasonings if you'd rather as well, which we are going to be adding a tablespoon of this Montreal chicken seasoning. I really love using that, and I did mix it before this next clip that you see here, where I sprinkled the cheese on top. So you'll mix in your seasoning and then go ahead and dump that cheese on top evenly, and then go ahead and line your whole pan with your tater tots. And you can just dump them out and lay them evenly, or you can arrange them so they look really uniform and pretty. So this is what I ended up doing. I preheated my oven to 425 degrees and went ahead and stuck that in for about 30 minutes. And then I stuck it on broil for about 2 more minutes just to get that crisp that you see on top of the dish. And this is our finished dish. You can see it's still bubbling. It's really hot out of the oven. This is delicious, nice and creamy and good. And it has a lot of veggies in it, but because they're chopped up really small, it makes it easy to sneak in a lot of extra veggies into this dish, and the majority of it ends up being veggies. This was delicious. We had no leftovers. Next, we're making this meatloaf tater tot casserole, and we are going to need, of course, our bag of 32-ounce bag of tater tots, about 1.5 pounds of ground beef, or you can use ground turkey, a bag of peppers and onion mix, it's about 12 ounces, 2 cans of carrots, 1 can of diced tomatoes, some Worcestershire sauce, and some quick cook oats. And you're also going to need some ketchup and an egg. The egg just helps to bind things together, and since we are bulking this up with lots of veggies, you definitely need that egg to help to keep everything held together. I went ahead and chopped up my pepper and onion mix. You can see it's almost 3 cups. It's about 2 3/4 cup. I also drained my cut carrots, and then I went ahead and chopped them really finely. I find that carrots are one of those things that you can easily sneak into a dish if you needed to, and add more veggies and more bulk to the dish instead of more meat if you are lower on your budget or you're trying to make your meat stretch, or if you're just trying to get in more veggies into your meals. I added in those carrots into the bowl, then I drained off my diced tomatoes and chopped those up finely as well, and added those into my dish as well. This made about a heaping cup of tomatoes to add in. I did add all the measurements, and the directions for how to make all these recipes are in the description box as usual. I then added in a cup of quick cook oats. You could probably use the steel cut as well if that's what you have, but this is what I have in my cupboard, so I went ahead and just used this. Now this helps to also bulk up the meal and adds a little more fiber into your dish as well. Then add in 1/2 cup of your ketchup. You're going to want some more ketchup for later, both to top the casserole and then while you're serving each individual serving, you might want some extra ketchup to dip everything in. Then I went ahead and put in 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce into my whole dish. Then I got to work on adding in some of my seasonings after I had given it a little bit of a mix. I mixed everything together and then added in my egg that I almost forgot, and then added in my teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. You can, of course, add your own flair to things and add in additional seasonings that you might think sounds good or tastes good in this dish. I tried to keep to somewhat basic seasonings just because I know a lot of us are on stricter budgets, and sometimes extra exotic spices aren't always the easiest thing to come by. So garlic powder and onion powder seem to be pretty standard for things that I would use and always have on hand. My next video is going to have a lot more spices in it, so just be forewarned, just because it is going to be a bunch of different Indian dishes that I'm trying to do on a tight budget. I wanted to just give you a little bit of a teaser for that here. I poured everything into my pan and then spread it out really evenly. You can see it has a lot of color in this dish because of those onions and peppers. Now this dish, I believe, is a 15 by 17, so your meatloaf, if you do it in a 9 by 13, is going to be a little bit thicker than mine was, but mine I felt like was a decent thickness still. I went ahead and took some ketchup and then just spread that on top, just sprayed it all over the top. It's about a half a cup of ketchup in the end that you'll be using for the top of this. Then I took my tater tots and just went ahead and lined them all up just like I did on the last dish. Of course, you can dump them all out and just spread them out evenly. I like the looks of it when it's all lined up and looks really uniformed, and it also helps you to kind of know how much to serve everybody, because you're like, okay, if you serve everybody, a serving is like 7 or 8 tater tots or something like that, then it helps you to know how to cut the pieces so that everybody gets as much as they need. I cooked it in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, until that meatloaf was 165 degrees internally, and then I put it on the broil setting for about 2 more minutes, and it came out so perfectly. This was just the right texture and just so delicious, and it had a lot of veggies in it. I hope if you're trying to add more veggies in and you're on a tight budget, that maybe these 2 casseroles have helped, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.